The hosts and guests on Everything's Messy podcast are not licensed healthcare professionals. The discussions in our episodes are not personalized medical advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider for medical guidance. Never delay seeking professional medical advice or emergency assistance because of our podcast. We encourage consulting with a healthcare professional before making any significant health changes. By listening to our podcast, you agree to the disclaimer. Thank you for listening to Everything's Messy podcast. Hey, welcome to Everything's Messy podcast, where we celebrate the beautiful but messy life experiences that most, if not all, people go through. Get ready to embark on an exciting journey through the raw and unfiltered stories of everyday people. Here, we dive into messy realities of life, from making messy mistakes to triumphs and everything in between. Are you sensing a theme? That's right, it's messy. But this just isn't about the mess. It's about finding strength and resilience in the midst of it all. We'll explore how health, fitness, and wellness play a crucial role in navigating life's twists and very messy turns. And we'll challenge conventional systems, because sometimes the most unconventional paths lead to the greatest discoveries. Join us as we embrace the messy, beautiful, and endlessly fascinating stories. Each episode is a testament to the power of our messy journeys and the beauty that emerges from the mess. So grab your favorite beverage, coffee, sparkling water, whatever it may be, and prepare to be inspired. Are you ready? Let's get messy. Hey everyone, welcome back to Everything's Messy podcast. I am your messy host, Sarah. This is the most awaited thing, at least in a while for me, that I'm super excited about. It is our 1-year anniversary for this podcast. Yay! 52 episodes later, here we are. So let's take care of the mushy stuff first. I want to genuinely give a shout out to my husband for all his amazing support. My children, they have been incredible. I love that they are excited and they ask me about what's going on with the podcast. My parents, my siblings, I mean, it has been just so much support, and I'm just so grateful for all of that. I have incredible mentors and coaches with Next Level University. Alan, Kevin, Amy, you know who you are. I'm so grateful to you. This has just been the most incredible journey. It really has. And I'm going to do a little self-reflection, and hopefully this sets us up for a great season 2. So let's talk about first the number one thing that I've learned in this process. And I'm going to kind of break it down. So as far as technology, wow, I learned a lot. Some I already knew. Some I had to figure out. You know, I mean, I've said this before. I'm a Gen Xer. You put something in front of me, I am determined to figure out how to make it work. I've learned a lot with social media. I've, taught my dad a little about social media and all the things that he's doing with it. Different apps and programs that I never thought I'd be using, I'm actually excited to use. I mean, there's this whole thing of, I don't want social media. I don't want to be on the computer all the time. I hate even to call it a necessary evil, because some of it is actually fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying learning the process. I'm enjoying figuring out what it is I need to do. So that's really big. The other thing too, there's such a enormous world of technology, and now we have AI that we're dealing with, and I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to get into the weeds with all of that. But I can say I have grown a lot in that area, and I'm excited to keep growing. I'm excited to see where that takes me. The other things that I have learned, and I've said this before, the podcasting world, if you are considering to do a podcast and maybe you're held back, you don't know how hard it is. I mean, it's definitely going to be time consuming. I don't know that I would call it hard, but there's a lot of things that you have to put into place. But I will tell you, the people in podcasting are some of the most genuine, kindest people I've ever met, truly. And they really are rooting for you to succeed. They want you to come along with them in their journey. They're not trying to step on you. At least I haven't come across anybody that is like that yet. Hopefully I don't. So if you're thinking about it, if it's something that you're like, I'd really like to have one, do it. Right? I mean, the podcasting world is ever changing. They say it's a saturated market, but here's the thing. If you find your niche, even if it's a niche that other people are talking about, you're still going to have your own spin on it. That's what the greatest thing about this is. You're going to have your personality behind it, what you like to do. And again, if you've noticed with the involvement of the show, I have evolved, and it's been an ebb and flow from when I started with the direction that I wanted to take it to now, having all of these amazing people and amazing stories and the things that I've learned. Oh my gosh, the things that I've learned and continue to learn. And, those that have listened know that I'm sort of a nerd and I love to go down the rabbit holes and I love to do all the research. But just in humanness alone, if that's a word, if I can say that, we're all different. We all have been, unfortunately, touched by different things, or fortunately, however you want to look at it. But we all have a story to tell. So if you want to get behind the mic, if you have a story to tell, I completely encourage you to do that. Your story is not my story. It is not the person sitting next to you. You have your own unique story and the things that you want to talk about. I've helped a friend, discover that she wants to go deep into the mind and figure out all of the things that make people, do the things that they do. Chanel, you know who you are. It's amazing and so fun to see it come to life, see what it takes. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. When I started this journey in 2019, it was with my husband. I've told this story before. We weren't really sure what we were doing, and it didn't really go very far. And I think that's one of the things I will say for those of you that are thinking about it. Be prepared. Figure out your pillars of what you're going to stand on. Yes, it's going to evolve. Yes, it's going to change. There's always an ebb and flow. But if you are good of the things you are solid about and you have a clear path, that's how you stay in your niche, and that's how you build upon that. And so that's super important. I would say, don't let people get in your head. Fortunately, my family's always been very supportive. They maybe not completely ever understood a lot of what I was doing or why would you want to do that, but they've always been supportive. Make sure you are surrounding yourself with people that are going to support you. That is so important. And you know what? Even if they're not, do it anyway. Take hold, be strong, have your power, and just go for it. I can't tell you that I've ever spoken to anybody that's ever regretted taking their shot in the dark. Maybe it didn't work out the way that they thought it would, but they never regret trying. So try, figure it out, think of what you want to do, put it together if that's what you want to do. The next thing that I will say, that the reflection that I'm having, I have grown personally so much. I have grown in the trade of speaking. I have grown in my interview skills. I have grown in, being quicker to figure out that's a topic that I want to talk about. And I have also, this is more recently, and I'm still working on it, I have become more bold in saying no. When this all started, I was very just so grateful that anybody wanted to talk to me, and I still am. But now I can see my worth that I bring to the mic and where I want to take the show. And I want to make sure that I'm doing the creative things that I want to do. So sometimes it's a no. Sometimes it's not, people may be disappointed with me, and that's okay. I am reading The Courage to Be Disliked. Incredible book. I encourage everyone to read it. I've talked about this book, Atomic Habits. And I think one of the things of my takeaway with Atomic Habits is, first of all, you don't know what you don't know. So these habits that I've been tracking, personally, professionally, business-like, fitness-like, nutrition-wise, it is amazing when you have the data in front of you, what you can see where you're inconsistent, where you can see where you're not doing so well, things that you maybe didn't realize that kind of come to the surface, and you're like, oh, that's why I'm doing that, or that's why I'm not doing that. The habits are completely important. The other thing that I think is extremely important, and it's not easy, it wasn't easy for me, and I'm sure it's not easy for anyone, but really getting dialed in with who you are as a person and where you fall on your self-worth versus your self-belief scale. And, like I've mentioned before, Next Level University has helped me kind of see that path and what's needed. But as I start to dive in and process those things, it became clear that I had a lot of things I needed to work on. And I was talking with Amy at Next Level University, and we were talking about sometimes people who, they say ignorance is bliss. Sometimes they're just happier people. And that's true to a certain extent because they're unaware. They're just completely unaware of what's going on around them. And that's okay. But when you start to become aware, when you start to be able to pick up different things around yourself and looking at other people and maybe the traits that they have, it starts to become very clear who you want around you, who you want on your journey with you, what you're able to say yes and no to. And that is such a critical thing to have. It's really powerful. I encourage those of you who may be having the side of, what I don't know, and that's fine. But as I move through the emotions and the motions and learning, being educated of these things, these heavy emotions that I'm not sure I knew what to do with. Now learning to do, sit in them, realize them. We always talk about everyone's got a mess. You should sit in that mess. And I have to remind myself to do that because the mess just doesn't stop. It might be a different mess, but it doesn't stop. And we need to empower ourselves to get through that mess, not rushed, it's not bootstrapping it and be like, distract myself from it. No, you need to sit and ride those waves. You need to sit and ride the waves of whatever bad or good or anxious or frustrated, whatever the emotion is, you need to ride that wave. But as you're coming out on the tail end of it, that's where you're going to find your strength, or at least I hope that you are. And you need to be listening to your body, to yourself, to anything that you can hear. You need to be listening to that. And hopefully it is dialed in and you can hear whatever. It's maybe a tiny voice. Maybe it's God telling you need to go this direction. I know, it's funny. There's always that thing of tell God your plans if you want to make him laugh, except for if it's aligned, except for if it's what you're supposed to be doing, except for if this feels good and this is what your purpose is. That's the most amazing part. So whatever that looks like for you, make sure you are aligned after that mess because you're going to get stronger. And so then when the next mess comes, you're going to get through it a little bit quicker. And then the next mess comes and you're going to be able to observe and, name all of these things, the emotions, the waves, the uncertainty, the anxiety. You're going to be able to see all of that. And that's growth, my friends. That is growth. It's messy. Well, it's hella messy, but that is growth. And I think one of the things too is we have to build that self-worth and self-belief. Whatever you may be lacking, maybe you think you're strong in both. I promise you, one of them you are probably lacking in unless you're extremely confident and have everything squared away. We can have confidence, but it doesn't mean that we necessarily have everything squared away. I know for me, it's a journey and I'm learning, but we can have all those things. And if it's not aligned, if it's not what you're supposed to be doing, somewhere something is going to throw you off your trajectory. It's going to throw you off course because it's not supposed to be that way. So just be listening, whatever that looks like, just be listening. Be silent, be quiet, be still. All of these things. Whatever you are trying to accomplish, just make sure it's aligned. That's the most important thing. The other thing that I would say is I've had such a great time getting to know all my guests, getting to know their messes and the incredible strength. Can I just say for a minute how strong we really are? I don't think we give ourselves enough credit. We are capable of so much. Now, does that mean we want to keep getting beat and feel defeated? No. But again, that comes back to what changes do we need to make so that's not happening? Some of us are stubborn, me included, and it doesn't always work out the way I think it should. And that's when I hit my brick wall again and again and again. I think as a species, though, we're very resilient. We're very strong. We are very capable. And I think we need to remind ourselves of that because we're going to get through it. It could be really, really hard, but at some point you're going to have to decide. There'll be a fork in the road. Are you a victim of your circumstances, or are you going to do something with this mess, find that strength that you need, and put, as the stupid cliche goes, make lemonade out of lemons? I mean, and again, I am not saying it is always easy. Sometimes it sucks. Absolutely. It is not perfect. And again, I do not have it all figured out. So we have to give ourselves the grace. We have to give ourselves the understanding. It may not look like it's going to be okay, but eventually you put these practices in place, it's going to be okay. Again, not easy. I'm not even saying that it's going to be easy. And if you have listened to the podcast, you have heard me say, I don't have it all figured out. Absolutely not. I am learning every day about the different things that my body needs, that my fitness level needs, that my psyche needs. There are so many things. And looking at others, and also, how can I serve others? What can I do for them? That's so important. Not only, and it's so funny the way it works. When you're feeling bad, and I've said this before on the show, when you're feeling bad, if you take yourself out of that mindset and go and serve someone else, two things are going to happen. Number one, you're going to forget about your own mess that you're going through at the moment. At the moment. Doesn't completely go away, but at the moment, you're going to forget about it. The second thing that happens, you actually start to feel better because either A, the person that you're serving is going to have 10 times worse circumstances than you had originally, and or you're going to feel good about giving back to somebody else, that when you come back to actually face your problems, I am of the opinion they're not going to seem as bad. Not saying they're not bad. I'm not saying this makes them disappear, but they're not going to seem as bad as they once did. And that's the beauty of serving. And that's what we're supposed to do. So that's huge. That's big. I absolutely love the growth and the journey. The journey has been amazing. And I'm not over. I'm not done. We're still going. But I love it. Sometimes I don't. But I can look back like I am now and reflect and be like, oh, that's why that happened. It gives me a little understanding. Some days, I don't want to hear it. No, thank you. Put that shit somewhere else. But when I can focus and when I can be in a gratitude state of mind and I can recognize all the abundance that the Lord has provided me and all of the things that I've gone through and come out of on the other side, gives me perspective. And I'm able to go, okay, next step, maybe a very small, tiny step, next step. So I have learned incredible amounts. So as I segue into the new stuff that's coming, this is my way of trying to serve others and give back. And because of the things that I've gone through, yes, I'm using my own personal experience, but I think most people who stumble on an idea or turn it into something good is because of their own personal experience. So as I lay out the new website, which is everythingsmessywellness.com, and on it, not only will you be able to find the podcast, you will find something that I have been wanting to do since I was 15, and I didn't really know it, other than I kind of knew it because I knew I wasn't getting what I needed. You hear me talk about all the time. Being diagnosed, type 1 diabetic at 15 years old, my family, they had no education. I had no education. We were given an insulin and a syringe and sent on our way, and there was not much more after that. I want to help parents or newly diagnosed type 1s that are young adults, or even if you're like me and you've been a type 1 diabetic for X amount of years, I want to help you. I want to sit down. I don't want you to have burnout because trust me, diabetic burnout, real, super real. We don't get a break. We don't get a break from our disease. We don't get a day off. We constantly, I saw a meme the other day, maybe I'll post it. It was basically when someone that's not diabetic goes to decide if they should have ice cream or not. The caption read yes or no. Diabetic brain was, okay, if I bolus this much, and then if I walk this much, and then if my blood sugar is already this much, and it was all of these numbers and questions and floating around in our head because it is not that easy for us to be able to do. We have to make sure that we're 10 steps ahead of whatever we're supposed to be doing just to be able to protect ourselves, our blood sugar, the things that we need to make sure we have, the preparedness of it all. It gets overwhelming completely. I know I've talked to all of my parents, my stepmom, my dad, my mom. Every one of them said, I would have absolutely attended a class or attended something that got into the nitty-gritty where they don't really tell you and talk about. Now, I know this is many, many years later. I have heard of some support groups. Of course, there is a lot of stuff online, but they are talking about the basic medical care. I'm going to be talking about the shit that's real. Bar none, stuff that everybody's afraid to talk about, including being in a relationship and having intimate moments. And you're connected to your insulin pump and your CGM and all of these other things. And, the partner aspect of it, that's real. That's real. Nobody wants to talk about it, but it's real. And I want to share my experience and the things that I've learned that have worked, that haven't worked. I want to be able to just be that one voice for someone who just might be on the edge of like, I don't want you to think that this is a death sentence, and I don't want you to think you can live with it. We just need to do some tweaking and figuring out, and that's what I want to help with. My coaching will provide different levels of what you're looking for. I hope to inspire. I hope to bring people together. I will be launching my Facebook community where it will primarily start out with, again, newly diagnosed or type 1s that have been going at it a long time, maybe need help, and parents who have children that are newly diagnosed. That will be the gist of the beginning. But I want to be able to expand into all autoimmune disease and chronic illness and get into the nitty-gritty because unfortunately, and I've talked about this before, these things exist more and more and more and more because of the very heavily processed foods, the soil that has no nutrients in it. We can go on and on and on as to why, but these things are happening. And I want to be able to bring everybody together as much as I can because, again, it's messy. It's hella messy. Oh my gosh. I am excited for this next chapter. I will continue on with the podcast. You will also be able to find a contact form on the website to submit if you'd like to be a guest. I don't want this platform to stop, even if I'm just talking to one person out there. That one person is like, she gets it. She knows I'm help. Or maybe you're just mad and you're yelling at whatever you're listening to your podcast and you're like, I hate you. You're dumb. I don't want to hear this. That's fine. That's okay. I'll take it. I say that tongue in cheek, but if that's the day you're having and I can be a source of letting that out, okay, great. If you disagree with me, let me know. If you have better intel, education, research, let me know. This is not a, controlled group where we're only going to let one or two people run the show. No, this is everybody's mess. And I want everybody to be a part of it. And I'm so excited. I still have a few things more up my sleeve, and those will come later on. Just know I want to be there for anybody that's hurting. And if you need to reach out, maybe you have a friend of a friend of a friend, whatever it is, let me know. We'll figure out the mess. We'll figure out something. I want to be a part of something bigger than myself, and I want to help where I can. So that concludes my year anniversary, which I am just completely over the moon about. We are going to continue to march on. The only easy day was yesterday, as people like to say. And we are going to get more messy. We are going to have more guests. We are going to just be messing stuff up. So again, please let me know. Subscribe, send me a comment, an email, Sarah@everythingsmessy.com. You can reach me on social media, on Instagram, Everything's Messy Wellness, X, which was Twitter, Everything's Mess, Facebook is Everything's Messy. Just find me and let me know. And I want to thank each and every one of you for your support and listening. And I can't wait to see what this next year brings. Keep it messy. Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to Everything's Messy podcast. I hope you were able to find strength through the mess through our episodes. If you have a question, a comment, would like to reach me via email, it's sarah@everythingsmessy.com. You can find me on social media. Instagram is Everything's Messy Wellness, Facebook, Everything's Messy, and X, Everything's Mess. Let me know what you think. Send me a messy comment, good, bad, or otherwise. I want to hear it. I'd love to read it. And to our new website, everythingsmessywellness.com. If you or someone you love or someone you know is looking for a little help, struggling with new diagnosis of specifically type 1 diabetes, I'd love to jump on a discovery call, talk to them, talk to you, whatever's going on. Let me know what you're going through. I'd be happy to help in any way that I can. Again, thank you so much for listening to Everything's Messy podcast. Keep it messy.